Hey, well, welcome everybody to another adventure of Soup Radio here. I'm with Brent Garrett from Sirius Sirius HVAC, right? Or heating and
Plumbing and air conditioning.
plumbing and
Yep,
air conditioning, right out of North Dallas, Texas. Am I correct?
that's correct.
That's right, yeah. And were just talking a little bit about. I guess we have a mutual hobby here called golf, and we were just going over some of the things that we enjoy. But more so, we're here to talk about, Brett. You got your new book out, 30 Days to a Better Business, and well, first off, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you do it. We met kind of like through your assistant Kate, and all of a
Yes.
sudden here we are, on a little show because I found it pretty interesting. But describe what you do, who you are, how you
Yeah.
been.
Since you brought up Kate, Kate is the best. Let me tell
Yeah.
you what. And so I am a second generation small business owner. My dad owned a plumbing and air conditioning business in the Midwest, and it was a smaller contractor, a couple trucks, that kind of thing. He was a Korean War vet.
Hmm.
He was in the National Guard when he was still in high school and got called up halfway through his senior year. And so, and he was on his way to play football on a scholarship, but life gave him a little different twist. Came back and started a family. I'm the youngest of four.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I grew up in the business. I started on the end of a shovel at 12
Hmm.
and kind of learned it that way. My other three siblings and myself were all college graduates, and so I started my first company, much against my dad's wishes. When I was 26, I started a plumbing and air conditioning company here in Richardson, Texas, called Canyon Creek Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Had $5,000, a 50-page business plan. Grew that in about 5 years and sold it to Service Master.
Mm-hmm.
uh, got some corporate experience, did some mergers and acquisitions. My background's marketing and accounting, but I'm licensed in both trades and know the work. A little corporate stint, did some coaching and speaking and workshop training, all the while starting another plumbing and air conditioning business, which is the one we have today. And it was a lifestyle business. We raised our kids, and I did get off the road on the coaching, speaking, that kind of thing. I'm now back doing that.
Okay.
And right on that other wall there is a really great team of people, about 30 employees. We call them team members,
Mm-hmm.
and 17 trucks. And we're in a 10-mile radius. And we're just trying to keep people's homes safe, healthy, and clean, and having a good time. I own a business. I don't work in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I still coach the coaches, but it's at a different level. It's the operations side and the accounting side.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just having a great time. I
That's
hope that
great.
answered your question, but
Yeah, you do. I mean, when we got together, I want to be able to present to my trade, the automotive, independent automotive repair sector, a different perspective coming from a same type of, well, a fellow tradesman, right?
yeah,
But a different type of trade. And, when I got to know you and read your book, I found it fascinating. There were a lot of parallels from, basically, I look at small business as small business. I look at trades as trades, and what we do and how we do it. It's somewhat the same. There's different variations, but when it came down to your book, and what the fascinating part of it is that it was pretty agnostic. Like anybody who is in the trade, as you wrote it, could understand it, even though you are from plumbing and heating and HVAC, something different. We on our side pretty much do the same thing. We have air conditioning, we have heat, we have plumbing, we have spark air and electricity as well. So we run the gamut. But I really like how you structured your book. Again, 30 Days to a Better Business. It's succinct. And how did you go from, I mean, your background, you've got the entrepreneurial path, you're in that journey, one business fails, all of these things are part of your history, your journey, your experience. How did you come about deciding that, well, you know what, I want to write about that and I think I can help somebody?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I do think you're a skilled trade. We provide a service and a product, and there's interaction with the customer. The lane I'm in is small business,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of these rules are uh, they transcend just any kind of industry. So, but to answer your question, um, you know, I want to say to your listeners before we start,
Mm-hmm.
I've been very blessed and had a lot of success, but I'm going to tell you, I've learned far more from my mistakes and my failures than I did the successes. I hopefully over time have learned from them, but the book was written, and it's written in a narrative style between a mentor and a mentee. In the first 3 weeks, each week has a theme. One is sales, one is leadership, the second is leadership, the third is business planning. We talk about the other 2 weeks, but it's written in small little bite-sized pieces. If you want to say what was the overarching purpose of the book, it was to share a connection with people who, man, they put it all out there, they risk it. And maybe from reading some of those things, there's a connection, because being a small business owner is a lonely place. You talk to your friends that you have that don't own their own business and they've never had to make payroll, or they've stayed up late at night trying to figure out how they're going to drive sales or solve a revenue problem, or it's a small space. There aren't a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people you talk to about that. So
True.
hopefully the book allows them to see their story in these stories. And and I'm sprinkling in all those mistakes I've made in a hope that maybe you don't have to learn them in the physical like I did. Maybe you could be smarter than me. And I feel confident about that many days, that you're smarter than me, but that you will see yourself in that and go, okay, I need to make a shift or a change on that.
Yeah.
And I start strategically with sales because
Mm-hmm.
nearly every business problem is solved somewhere, somehow, or is linked back to a revenue issue,
Yeah.
a sales issue. So that's where we start.
Mm-hmm. Well, I looked at, the two characters that you have, Carl and Evan, where you have mentor and mentee. Um, does that parallel your experience and your mentoring under someone or somebody that was able to guide you through your trials and tribulations as you went through the entrepreneurial journey and you built one business and then you closed and built another business, and now you have what you call your lifestyle business, and you've been able to be successful at it. So did is that part of was that part of your plan to kind of like give it a I want to say not so much like a human touch, but to put characters in order to have your book understood a little better?
It is certainly
Mm-hmm.
over 30 years a melding of some really wise people that I talked to and learned from. It's funny you asked that because it took me about 3 years to write the book.
Wow.
The outline, it's just, I'm not a writer,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like I've crafted it now, and I feel like I could write another 10. Um, they call it a learning curve or something because it's hard, but but I would give the book to some folks and say, hey, read this and give me some feedback. And I really took a lot of time getting feedback from other people. And they said,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I've got to ask you. And the two characters are Carl and Evan.
Mm-hmm.
Carl is an older mentor, and Evan's the younger guy that is that solopreneur starting his business, trouble with scaling, and how do I blend family and new babies and run a business. And so the question from my friends are, hey, I'm just curious, kind of like yours, Greg, is are you Carl or are you Evan?
Mm-hmm.
Carl is a mixture of a lot of folks that I learned from, but Carl is me now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Carl, the book I said was simple in its design was what would Brent tell his younger self that's just starting a business what it's all about? And
Yeah.
and that's really the book for that first 3 weeks is a narrative.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth week is about accounting and KPIs. I promise you I tried to write it so you wouldn't fall asleep, but it's often neglected, but very important in your business, especially as you start to coach coaches and
Yeah.
and own a business. And then that fifth week is a kind of a fun week and that was the most fun to write because I got to do some research. What do great companies all have in common?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they have great sales and marketing plans. They have, and I should say processes, things that they can repeat. They have a great client experience. I bet, Greg, if I came to your business, you have a system and a process. When somebody walks in the door, they give you the keys and they say, hey, something's wrong with my car. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
work. You
Mm-hmm.
become a doctor and say, tell me a little more about that.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on. What do you hear? That kind of thing. There's a client experience in there because you don't get to go to your tools until you gain their trust
Mm-hmm.
to perform your service.
Well,
So
I think you're hitting on something that's pretty important because, the flavor, I want to say it's the flavor of the month or flavor of the year. We as small business, we try our best to stay away from the transactional type of business that, we're not a retailer. Like you don't buy a pair of jeans over the counter and you're off and, goodbye. We need relationships to survive. And when you talk about the client experience, right now, running through our trade right now is hospitality. How do we improve the experience of the client? From education to being elevated in terms of them knowing about the problem, proving what is wrong through our technology and digital vehicle inspections and stuff like that. Much like you guys could go down into and have a boroscope go into any kind of clog and see what's going on,
Yep.
make recommendations, and do that. Well,
Yep.
we're as transparent. We do a lot, just exactly that as well. So it's all about the client experience saying, look, we want transparency, we want trust, we want to be able to service and repair the first time in, those kind of things. We do not want to interfere with your lifestyle. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's exactly what it is.
yeah, it's not just performing the service, it's what was the experience in that service.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we want in the long run are repeat customers. We want
Absolutely.
satisfied customers referring us and also coming back.
Yeah.
My favorite business book that I've ever read was read to me
Really?
between 3 and 7. It was the story of the tortoise and the hare.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We were talking about that.
Slow
Yeah.
and steady wins the
Right.
race.
Yeah.
Slow
Yeah,
and
sure
steady
is.
wins the race. We kind of live in and maybe this is my Midwest upbringing, but kind of live in this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's immediate and available, and we certainly have to be relative and current, right, with technology. But there is something to be said about slowing down and having a conversation with your customers and asking questions and not selling, but being an expert and providing options and help guide them to what's right for them. And I come back to, what we want to do is help you make your best decision for your own home and keep it safe, clean, and healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true, and I can parallel that with the same with your vehicles, and fleets as well. Getting on the book, you talk about the pace of business and how we're all expected to, how speedy it is or how fast things are today. One of the things that there's so many good things about this book, and it's so concise within 30 days. I love your tips. I love how you break down each of the days into like a synopsis of what it was, what you should do, what was the term, fire it up, or now add something to it where you say,
Turn
okay,
up the heat.
turn up the heat. Thank you
Turn
very
up the
much.
heat.
I
Yeah.
apologize here.
Yeah, that's
Um,
okay.
yeah, and then
Hey,
you get
Greg, I'm
into
just happy you read the book. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Well,
I'm impressed. So,
I'll tell you, Brent, it's a great book. It's quick, it's easy, and as I said, I mean, I could see myself as a young tech working for a good firm and saying to myself, I really think I can do this on my own, not because I'm not happy here with who I'm working with, but because I really think I can make a difference. And
absolutely.
yeah, and and I can tell by, what your operation is. If a young person came up to you and said, Brett, you know what, I really want to try this on my own, you would be the first to say, good for you.
I have 5 folks that I have great relationships with that
Yeah,
came through our company.
yeah.
I am not running a prison here.
Right,
Our
exactly.
culture, our culture is to make lives better
Right.
for our team, our customers, and our vendors. And we do that 4 different ways: by
Mm.
serving each other, by
Hmm.
focusing on progress, not perfection, by developing our team members. And sometimes we develop them out the door, and that's okay.
Yeah,
And
it
the
really
fourth was
is.
to grow profitably. But and what's great about those folks is they will call me and say, "Man, I remember you were always talking about this,
Hmm.
and I never really got that and why until I had this problem in my business."
Yeah.
Those are great phone calls.
Oh, they are.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
really
no, those are
good.
great phone calls, and they're a lot of fun. And yeah, so
That's
yeah, yeah,
that's what it's about. I think that there's a misconception from a lot of people that your good small business operators are there to improve the lives. Like you said, we're here to improve the lives of our people, of our team. And if
yes,
they decide to expand outside of our organization, then good for them. That's what you're there for. It's almost like raising your own child. You want them to succeed. You want them to have a good life. And if they're better than you or become better or have become satisfied, hey, great. You're not losing that relationship. You're actually intensifying it. Like you said, you take those 5 or 6 phone calls from people that had worked for you. But you know what? They're so appreciative of the opportunity to have known you or to be with you or to you to be that mentor to them. And that's what I call being a good being a conduit of good. You know what I
I
mean?
don't want to be a radical guest on your
No,
podcast.
no, no.
But
You
would you give me a little editorial latitude, because
please do.
I
Please
want to
do.
share something with you, and that
Yeah.
is that in our industry,
Mm-hmm.
the typical age is somewhere between 45 and 60
Mm-hmm.
that are business owners that are at a certain level. I'm going to tell you what I found most, and what I'm finding in the last 5 to 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 61 now.
Okay.
Working with young folks, younger than you, will keep you young. I
Yeah.
know it sounds so simple, but there are things, and guess what?
Yeah.
They're really smart, and they really, I have a lot of hope for the future, and I have a lot of hope in these next generations, because the technology is really helping our business. But
Yeah.
these young folks they're starting to come into our business because they're finding it as a great place. If a 4-year college degree is not for you, we end up encouraging them to go back and get their associate's degree while they're working here. We
Right.
invest in them. But if I could just say anything out there to folks who are at that point where they own their business, don't be afraid to bring some folks in that are younger than you, and let them earn the responsibility to lead, but be their coach. Be their coach. Because I'm telling you, if you get to the level where you're coaching the coaches, and
Yeah.
that's what I really do
Right.
with business owners, you can go take a vacation with your wife, and the business didn't fall apart.
Isn't that amazing?
And you're
Yeah.
trying to move them to that point where the purpose of the business isn't for you to feel needed by it.
Mm-hmm.
It's for it to fill the needs of you and your family.
You want to say it a little louder for the folks in the back?
You know what? I don't think I could say that again the way
I
I'm
don't
gonna
think
have
you
to go
could.
listen
That
and
was,
write that down. But you flip the needs. The needs.
yeah,
If when I work with business owners, I'll just tell you about Sam. Sam
good.
is and Sam came to me and he hit this ceiling of complexity, and I call it the messy middle. There's
Hmm.
a stage to business growth. You're a solopreneur. You're that you hang that shingle out, and man, it's a lot of fun. It's a great phase in your business. It's just like a honeymoon.
Hmm.
I mean, and there's this excitement, and you have control of everything, and things are going well. And then you start to go into survival mode. You start bringing people on. You have more business you can say grace over. Sam reached what I call the messy middle, and it looks like a whirlpool. Okay, and you're swirling. And here's
Circling.
what the messy middle looks like.
Yeah.
I'm working twice as much as I did than the other stage when I was in the teaming stage, when I was adding people and growing. I could still handle it. Here's the other indicator of the messy middle. I'm making half the money now and working twice as hard.
Yeah.
And that's the point. So um, Sam Sam got to a point where he said, I think I'm just going to go back to being at that size where I had control of everything. And you see a lot of small
Hmm.
business owners.
Hmm.
I don't want to call it compromise because it's a survival mode, but it's just a few little shifts and tweaks to get to that next level in coaching the coaches. And it's really a lot of fun. But Sam also had issues with his marriage
Hmm.
because he had a mistress, and that mistress was called his business.
Yeah.
And and he worked through it, and we got the hats off of his head that
Hmm.
didn't fit so well. And he started getting excited, seeing things being done outside of him.
Yeah.
But what Sam had to do, the first thing was he had to let go of how he thought he needed to run the business. And he had to trust some people, not blind trust. And today he's at a 5 million plus business. I got a note from him a couple weeks ago. He and his wife had just gone on a med cruise, and you know, look, it's not all cherry pie and ice cream.
Oh, right.
Okay,
Exactly.
I understand that, but you have to sometimes declare victory when you have a business and you were able to leave for 2 weeks and it was still there, and you made some money,
Yeah.
and you and your wife got to spend some time together. Those are the success stories. Those are the exciting times. But Sam had to make a decision because it was you know that messy middle looks a
Yeah.
lot like I'm inches from bankruptcy. I'm stuck. I'm
Right.
working twice as hard. My only answer that I see is to work harder, and my mind is working against that. So
Yeah.
I
A
just
lot of
thought I'd
people.
share that story with you.
Well, that's a great story because it really does relate to a lot of small business owners and both in and out of the trades. I know many shop owners, and even myself. You get to the point where if you're not going to delegate or offer autonomy to your team, you're not going to train them to take on your responsibilities or some responsibilities that they can handle, you won't grow and you'll become frustrated. And you're in, before you know it, you are in that messy middle where you're not doing anything. Your quality of life is has been compromised. Yes, you do have a mistress, which is the business. Your family suffers. You don't make the kids' ball games or the events that they do. It's important, like you said, to make sure. And I go back to, I think one of my was a coach, or I can't remember, but he said the first thing you do when you get into business is to learn how to get yourself out of the business. To have someone there to do the things that you can't do it all. And I don't know. A lot of people quote the E Myth, in that book, the E Myth. I believe I might have read it or reviewed it, but it does come down to the fact that you can't do everything. You have to grow the business, which means you need people to do it, and they have to have their responsibility, and then there's accountability with it. it's just the way that it is if you want to have a quality of life. And that's why we have started our businesses, because that's what our goal was to have a quality of life, to make our decisions on our own. Our it's our field, our team, our goals, So
You brought up the E-Myth, and I've read it and reread it. Michael Gerber has said it's such an impact on small business. But my favorite line that Michael shares is, "You're so busy working in it that you don't have time, or think you have time, to work on it."
Yeah.
And you're in it, and you're in it, and you're in it, and you realize you're working for an idiot.
That's true. That's right. That's right.
We've all felt that
back.
way before. Yeah. He's a very direct man. I love listening to him. Yeah. E-Myth's a great book.
It really is. I again, going back to the book and how you've segmented it all. I think it might have been, I recall the middle of the book, like day 15 or something, you started to talk about vision statements, mission statements, and the importance of them. I can tell you that I fail at that. And I really started laughing at myself. I said, you really got to look at this day 15 all over again, and it was important that your mission statement is the path to your vision on how you want to, And so, I think that really rang with me, because, like Evan would say, well, what's the mission statement? Something I just put on the wall. And, Carl said, no, it's your path to the vision, where your mission statement is, how you're going to get there. And then you go into, I think it was like on day 18, how you start to put it all together. So I want to talk a little bit about that, because I think that, I know for myself, like I said, I'm not the best. You won't see I know my mission, I know where my vision is, but I still don't really share or put that out there. My team knows it. I verbally will communicate it. But for me to present that and to have somebody look at it every day, I really don't do that quite well.
Yeah. Can you allow me a little latitude? I'll use it.
Go ahead. You got the mic, brother.
I may have to take a little bit of a history lesson, and I might lose some of the younger folks, but John Kennedy in the early 60s said in his inaugural speech, "We're going to the moon in this decade." Do we think he knew how to put the rocket together? Do you even think he knew how we were going to? He went out, stepped out, and said, and certainly he had enough information to know what the technology was and what was on the table. I don't think he just broad brushed this and said, you know what, this sounds good, I think I'll throw it out there. It was well thought out, but he said, we are going to the moon in this decade. That is a vision. It's big, it's broad, it's a big, hairy, audacious goal, BHAG. Okay. And so when you look at how did they do it? Well, they had little missions to get to their vision. Okay. And so a vision is somewhere 10 to 20 years. So when you're thinking in the context of your business, where do I want to be? Sit down with your wife, sit down with your business partner and say, where do we want to be? It's extremely important, because if you don't know where you're going to go, anywhere or any route will take you there. Right? So those little missions, well, the first one, I'm probably going to get the history a little bit wrong, but the first mission was, how do we get out of the atmosphere?
Right.
Well, okay, so we knew that, and we did get to the moon. Like, I think it was a 69. I'm pretty sure.
69. Yeah.
Yep. So they broke it down into little missions. How are we going to get out of the atmosphere? How are we going to land back? How are we going to be able to orbit the Earth? How are we going to get outside? How are we going to launch and get to the moon? I mean, it was just incredible.
Yeah.
What a feat. Well, every vision and mission has a strategy. What is your strategy for your business? Now, for mine, I can tell you it's a stated strategy. What I do is I help groups of people come together to a common goal, and they're motivated and incentivized through pay for performance. That's my strategy.
Okay.
What was the strategy, Greg, to get to the moon? It was a rocket.
Right.
That strategy is still used today.
Mm-hmm.
It made a trillionaire,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And guess what? That strategy was so sound that they're still using it today
Absolutely.
for different visions, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you start to plan for your business, it all starts with a vision. Your vision gets realized once in your head. It's what you can see.
Yeah.
It's like a horizon line, as far out there as you can see and imagine, right? You know it's out there, but you can't get to it. That mission's a little spot in between, and the strategy is what's going to take you there. Then you just break that down into dangers, opportunities, and strengths, or the SWOT that you'd say. What are our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats?
Yeah.
Break those
SWOTs.
down into goals and tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I say to everybody, I break it down every 90 days. And so if our vision is to get to the ocean and we're on the stream, our goal is to get to the next bend in the river. That's all. And we're going to get there. Slow and steady wins the race. This was Management by Objectives by a guy named Deming. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
MBO. He went over and studied manufacturing in Asia, pretty much Japan, but he came back with this process and said, we're going to manage by our objectives. And so that's where it all starts. When you're making a plan, if we're in New York and we're trying to get to LA, we may end up in Chicago for a while. It may not always be a straight line, but we know where we're headed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like how you, in that part of the book, when we talk vision and mission, you also, Carl and Evan, and for the audience, if you missed the first part, we're using two characters that are part of the book that create the scene here. So, we'll try to explain a little bit better. But that exercise kind of stops you from the shiny silver objects that we're all attracted to. And I liked how you put it where it'll stop you from, if it doesn't meet your vision, then that's a distraction. And it takes you away from it. So I think that exercise, understanding what the mission is, the path to the vision, kind of it disciplines you. And as I know that Jocko Willink makes it famous, but discipline equals freedom. So that's again, these are little things that I looked at, and I'm so glad that you and Kate forwarded me a copy of the book. And I highly recommend that my colleagues, and we'll have some links in the show notes here where you can pick it up at. But it's it really was very, coming out of the clear blue, how this all came about, how you and I got together, and it's been quite nice. And I can't compliment you enough on the book itself. So
yeah, you're very kind. Very
kind. Really good. You go into so many things. What's it? Maslow's need pyramid. And how we go into that. Explain how your needs created. Like I said, going into the book itself, where your thoughts were. What you did to, I could say execute Maslow's pyramid, but where do you position yourself, and what do you do with those basic needs?
Yeah, I think you're speaking mainly of how I think Maslow's hierarchy needs, our most basic things are air and water, right? We can live 2 minutes without air. I think maybe 2 weeks without, 2 days without, I think it's 2 weeks without food.
Substance, yeah.
Yeah. And so what Maslow says is that most basic need has to be satisfied before we talk about the next one. and the next one's shelter. And I'm giving you a inch deep and mile wide on
Sure.
Maslow here, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's in the context of managing and leading people.
Right.
And it's also in the concept of helping people make decisions about what they want for their home. I don't use the word sales a lot because our sales process is something that is just a part of our client experience. Um, so if trust is high, communication is very fast, very fast. Stephen Covey said that. The higher the trust, the more they're going to want to listen to you about aspiring or seeing the possibility to getting past the most basic needs. The next need is just a belonging need, right?
Yeah.
One where we have friends and connections and relationships. Well, you can see how that goes, right? If I don't have air conditioning and I need a cool home, that's my most basic need. And by the way, it's pretty low to the Maslow. I mean, it has something to do with air. So my most basic need is that. But you know what? I also aspire to have less humidity. I want to feel better. That we go on up and there's self-actualization. So as we ask questions to customers, what is it they really care about? Or if you're talking to a team member, what are their most basic needs? They got to pay their bills. Well, you know what? People don't leave just for pay. They leave for how they feel, right? And so I think when I talk about Maslow, if we want to get into a deeper conversation, or if we want to get to another level with relationships, we have to be talking about satisfying those higher level needs, right? So when I talk to a prospective employee, I'm talking we get past the compensation thing real quick. I ask you a question: where do you want to be 3 years from now? If they don't have a vision for their own career and I can't define what it is, how do I as a coach help them get there?
Yeah.
It is a
Very
real
true.
disqualifier because unfortunately some people can't see a career path. We try to help them with that, but Maslow at its basic needs says people innately want to be better off tomorrow than they are
Not
today.
today.
Yeah. So, to customers, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Is it the moon? Well,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
takes a rocket.
Yeah. I think that's a very clear way of using that pyramid and turning it into a series of questions and exploring what the needs are of not just your employees and team members, but your clients as well. That's all, and that's all part of the sales process that you have for the clients. But it sounds like it's also the interview or the team building exercise that you go through on keeping good quality team members and providing for them, just not now, but in the future. You know what they want, you know what their desires are, and then you work together to try to fulfill them.
And when we work with other small business owners, we want them to get to owning a business because then other people in their team can start to realize their own vision under their canopy.
Yeah.
And there's some really exciting things happen in businesses when you open up the creative nature of the team inside your business and say, hey guys, where do we want to go in 5 years? You're a part of this. There's a buy-in to that. Maslow at the top says there's this concept of self-actualization. Here again, I'm going to butcher probably what the real true understanding. For me, what it is it's not just about acquiring material things. It's I love what I do. I enjoy what I do. I'm getting to do the things that I love. I have spent my life working and doing the things that I love.
Right.
There's a point in self-actualization for me that I believe it's when you are at a point where you are giving back, not because you feel like you have to or that you're going to get something in return, but you have gotten to a point as an owner in a business that you want to create opportunities for your team that's delivering this organism or this organization that is satisfying repeatedly in a repetitive process with a client experience, people are starting to be able to realize their dreams. It can happen.
Yeah.
And it does happen. It's happening right on the other side of that wall.
There you go.
Yeah.
How do you take a technician who, maybe on the not the downside, emotional downside a little bit. Maybe they're a little fatigued, maybe they're a little, but yet they want to continue. How do you work with them in order to improve their place in not just the organization, but in their life? And I mean,
Are we talking about fatigue or burnout?
Burnout. There you go. Thank you. Burnout.
Okay. Yeah. Fatigue, we just give them a day off and say, hey, thanks for a great day. And burnout's a much more complex thing because I think burnout is a feeling of being stuck.
Okay.
Okay. One of the things that Carl would say to Evan in another book would be, you can't want something for somebody more than they want it for themselves. And so you can be a coach, you can be a conduit, but a coach sits on the sidelines. They never play the game.
Right.
Right. And so sometimes there's the reality of, this is what I do. This is my job or my lot in life. I have to make a choice about working on myself harder than I do my job. But I've got to have a vision or an idea in my mind. And I don't think I finished my thought a couple minutes ago. A vision is created once in our brain and then realized in the physical. So you realize it twice. There's the vision or what you see, but if you can't see it, it's not going to happen, right? So I guess what you have to do is help them identify, what is it that they're stuck in? What can I do to help you? Or what is true about that? And that's an exercise where I go, okay, what's true about that? Well, if I don't do anything about it, nothing's going to move. Yeah. And so what's true about that? Well, I've got to decide whether I'm going to move or not. Okay. What's true about that? That's when we get probably either something thrown right at my head in frustration, which is job the coach sometimes, or they say, you know what? I get it. Here's my next step, right? Every one of these conversations is, we've got to get to the next bend in the river.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. I mean, we all have those employees and team members that are going through a little bit of a down spell. Like you said, burnout or fatigue, one or the other, and trying to get the best out of them, not just for performance and KPI measurement and all that other stuff. It's just for that they can start to enjoy themselves. I know that, I hear a lot of chatter about how, technicians in our field are more than burned out. They feel sometimes like they're taken advantage of by certain owners or by a group of owners. Or they don't. The trust factor in having an owner making sure that they have the technician's best interest at heart and not just a dollar sometimes is brought out in these online conversations a lot. And I know that there are some maybe owners who aren't as savvy in business, and like you and I are discussing, making sure that the team is important, it's taken care of, you're building a life for them, it's everything that you possibly can give to your team members to improve their lives. Some owners in all fields, all small businesses may forget that sometimes, and it leads to a lot of bad feelings. So
a smile, and a thank you at a certain level in your leadership is really expensive if you don't share them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great point.
And how it changes in the scaling. It's just this morning.
Yeah.
I still do coaching and training within our company, and it's one of the most fun things I do. This morning's training, it's on Wednesday mornings, and they're like 30 minutes. And I was talking to the guys, I said, hey guys, how's the team doing on truck stock and making sure that you have things on the truck? Man, it's really gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that we had worked on that. We'd heard from the techs, hey, this needs to improve. I said, there's one individual in the company that took that personal. It's not me. Who do you think it is? And they named the individual. I said, have any of you gone to tell them thanks? And so it goes back to culture, Greg.
Yeah.
I think I said, our why at Sirius is to make lives better. What we do, this is Simon Sinek, but what we do is plumbing and air conditioning. Our why is to make lives better. Well, you can make his life better by telling him thank you. I mean, it doesn't cost much, but it's very expensive to not do.
I love that right there. I love that word. That series. And you repeated it. So
good, because that good. Need and hit thing, I don't think I've got that down.
That's right.
But it made his day.
Yeah.
Okay. We make lives better for our team first, our customers second, our vendors third. If the team isn't winning, the customer can't win.
No, you're right.
Absolutely correct. And so, our why is to make lives better.
Yeah.
Those types of culture things can help. Mm-hmm. And I've heard hundreds of ideas and things. I mean, some folks have, like periodically we have a food truck. It's a breakfast truck out, and just to say thank you and those kinds of things. A thank you can be said many different ways. Sometimes just being sensitive when somebody's having a bad day and going, hey, you know what? You're on your last call today, but I'm going to pay you through the rest of the day. Go surprise your wife that you came home early and that kind of thing. Just one of our culture things is do your best, do the right thing, and treat people fairly. I learned that from a football coach that recruited me, and it's lived with me the rest of my life. Sometimes some people just can't be nice people.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Right?
True.
But if they can't do that, even after a little bit of training, sometimes you have to trade those players.
I love your sports analogies. I really do, because
I got a ton of them.
I know. I lean on them as well.
Yeah.
So I get everything you're saying, and especially as you talk about building your team up, and if they should leave, that's like a what do you call it? Like a coaching family where it's not a family. What do they call it? A stable of coaches.
Sure.
Where like in the NFL, if one coach sets a culture, all of a sudden he's creating more coaches that go to other teams to build that same culture or that same style, that same that same playbook. And it's really interesting. But so much of what I know that I have learned has come from sports, and learning how to build teams, learn to work them. Military's been there as well, and of course my dad and the experience of having 60 years of business. But yeah, it's always interesting when you get to mentor a young person, and you're right. Thank yous are the most expensive. Can be the most expensive thing if you forget to say them. I gotta nail that, because I really like that.
They don't cost a thing, but they're really expensive if you don't share them.
Same, yeah, for sure. That's great. So, well, where do you think that you are in your steps as an owner, entrepreneur, successful business person, father, all of that? You're into coaching again, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
If folks want to find me, they can go to the skilledtradescoach.com.
Skilledtradecoach.com. Okay.
Skilledtradescoach.com. Yeah.
Okay.
And I work with a community of skilled trade business owners, small business owners that have a burning desire to grow and scale their business without compromising their values. And I really think when you start compromising your values, different forms of burnout take place, because you are working against what you believe is true. And the brain is an amazing thing. It'll work on that while you're sleeping. It'll bother you. right? There are so many people that start a business and they're great technicians and they want to do the right thing by their customers.
Hmm.
They're not in conflict. They are not competing. I am from the business
Yeah.
and I'm not a consultant. I've done it for 30 years. I've made every kind of mistake more than once because I'm just sometimes just hard-headed. It doesn't have to be that hard. So what I do is I help people grow and scale their business, get out of that messy middle, and
Hmm.
we do it a number of different ways. But the first step in that is to go to the website. It's real simple. Grab 30 or 40 minutes with me, answer a couple questions. We'll
Okay.
schedule an appointment, and you will leave that conversation with 2 or 3 things that you can go to work on your business. And I may never talk to you again,
Right. Right.
but you'll get a free ebook
Okay.
of the book.
Mm-hmm.
If we both decide that the next step is to go to a virtual retreat where you learn about sales, leadership, and business planning, you walk away with a 90-day plan in that. And then there's another group that I work with called the Mastermind where we meet every week
Mm-hmm.
talking about their business. But here's what's unique about that group. You are in a fraternity of folks sharing, not competing because you're not in the same city,
Right.
but you're sharing and working together on business problems because it's a best idea wins. It's a best practices group. It's in confidence. What happens in that group? It's really an exciting group. That group starts to take on its own identity. And as you know, as a small business owner, you
Mm-hmm.
can't go to your friend who works at a corporation and talk to them about the struggles of meeting payroll or
Right.
what software do I use? Or like you said, I've got this employee challenge, or what do I do with this payroll issue? Those that ends up becoming a close-knit group. And so once a week together, and then probably 2 or 3 times or as much as you need. And what I do with that group is I share everything that I do in my business. I just open it up to them. So
Okay.
those are the ways I'm helping and coaching.
Okay, that's
And
great. Now, it sounds like the
appreciate you
group
asking.
is diversified. I mean, you said skilled trades. Do you have electricians and HVAC people, all that, or is
You
it?
know what?
Hmm.
We might have at one time we had a closet organizer. I'm
Really? Okay.
the tent is small business,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Good.
my lane, because it's so big
Hmm.
and there's so much um, demand there,
Hmm.
that tends to stay in the electrician, plumbing, HVAC.
Yeah.
But a roofer might be in there, and because as you know, and we both started the call today
Yeah.
by saying small business or
Right.
business in general,
Yeah.
what we sell might be different, but the basic components of being successful are
Are all
very, very
there.
aligned.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
very true. And really, it's something to keep in mind that, we may have different skill sets that we're using to satisfy a client. But when it comes down to it, it's all the same. Small
Yeah.
business is small business, and we have our struggles, which can't deny them. But there's a lot of common things that we can talk about. And all. I really have enjoyed the conversation completely. So I will finish. I just kind of wrap up with the book, but on day 30, I guess it's like graduation day. What is to be expected? What could the reader expect to have when they finish the book? Day 30 is over, and they're ready to, rip the cover off and get going.
Yeah, I think the book was designed. I think you mentioned turn up the heat.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of each chapter is a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, based on what I know now, so what? What do I do with that? And hopefully you saw yourself in Evan or Carl or both, and you saw that problem, and there's a challenge at the end. What are the 2 or 3 things based on this that makes sense as you do in your own business? And
Yeah.
so hopefully at the end of the book, if you're one of those real self-starters, you've got about 30 or 40 things that you need to go to work on your business in.
Mm-hmm.
And so you take those 30, 40 things. If you came to a retreat, we talk about those, boil them down into what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and what are the most important objectives out of those 40 that we go to work on. Because guess what? I promise you, you know your business better than I do. And if you've identified 30 or 40 things that you need to do, pick the most important one. It's a form of getting to the next bend in the river. And believe me, when you turn that bend, there's another one right down the way, just like a horizon line. So,
well, I'll tell you what, to my audience and everybody here in the automotive sector, really take Brent up on his offer. Just peruse the sites. That Skilled Trades. Say that again.
theskilledtradescoach.com.
Okay, theskilledtradescoach.com. I will have that link in there, I promise you, and get yourself a copy of the book. I really like it. And one other thing I like to inform the audience is that Brent and I, we realize that we share something about with golf, and he's been giving me some good tips. As I said, this Sunday, I leave for Ireland for a week of golf, and it's you were giving me some tips on
where are you going in Ireland?
I'm going to Silgo, Silgo, Silgo.
Okay.
That's where we're going, and we're about 2 hours away from Dublin. Is where we're
south
staying.
Or north?
I think it's north of there, north of Dublin.
Okay.
And I still haven't figured out. I went for the emails and I said, "Where are we playing?" Because it doesn't matter to me. I'm just glad to be there. But we leave Sunday. We have a heck of a day on. We leave Sunday at 6:30 out of Philadelphia, and we arrive at 6:30 a.m. Dublin, and then we play. I think we have a tee time either at 11 or 1 p.m. their time. So we have a heck of a first day lined up, but we're really looking forward to it. So
That's
it's
great.
going to be good.
Have you been before?
I have not been to Ireland. No,
You're gonna love it.
This is very special.
Get yourself some good rain gear.
I got it. I took your tip. I got some good rain gear. And in fact, just before we jumped online here, Amazon delivered my FootJoy rain gloves, and some other things. So I think I'm pretty set.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'd be looking forward to
That's
it.
great.
So,
Go with some buddies.
Oh yeah. We got 3 other friends of mine. We're all looking for. We all play. One I play in the league with down here. The other, we do some trips together. All 4 of us will go to trips together. This is the biggest one so far, and it's been about 2 years in the making. Between all the other schedules that we carry, so when the opportunity came up, my buddy goes, "Hey, let's jump over." I go, "All right, let's do it." So we planned for it, and this is it. So I can't wait. It's going to be a heck of an experience. So
Well, keep it in the short grass.
yeah, exactly, and learn to use your wedges and your short irons.
Yeah.
So Brett, this has been great. I can't say enough how this all has just came together. Kate, thank you very much for reaching out. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really have enjoyed it, and I really enjoy the book. I wish you great success. You got it going on, man. You really do. So
Well, Greg, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I feel like 58 minutes just went by in a flash.
it did. It really did.
It was a great conversation.
So, we can do it again. I don't have a problem. Things come up or you got something interesting. I'll always pop on here.
I got the feeling we're going to stay in touch.
All right. I think so too. It's going to be good.
Maybe we'll hit the white ball sometime.
Oh man, I'll tell you. I will be in Dallas September 19th. I'm speaking at a conference at Union. Is it Union Square or Union Street?
Yeah. Hey, talk to Kate.
Okay.
Let me know when you're in town. Bring your
All right.
sticks. We'll go play 18 holes.
Sounds good to me. All
Be
right.
my guest. Okay. Sounds
All
great.
right.
Thank
Brett,
you so
buddy.
much.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. See you now.
Have a great day.